Yes, ma'am, we can start the session.
Yeah,
Ms. Gayatri,
Yes, I'm here.
yeah,
yeah,
because
you can take over. Thank
Okay. So I now request everyone to mute your mic and switch off the video to avoid any kinds of inconvenience. Thank you. Hello, everyone. A very good evening to one and all gathered here. I'm Gayatri Kanama, and on behalf of Ryan Publishers, it's my greatest pleasure in welcoming you all to today's one-day international webinar on the topic Neuro Linguistic Programming for Effective Faculty and Student Communication. The participants can post your queries and clarifications in the chat box, and I would now like to inform that the feedback form for today's seminar will be sent to the respective mail IDs of the registered participants. It's now time to get into the session, and joining with us today is Dr. Swati Pradoshi. Welcome, ma'am.
thank you so much, Gayatri.
Yeah. Our resource person is currently an advisor at Twarin and the vice president at the Center for Human Development and Neuro Linguistic Research. She has completed her PhD, MBA, and BCom and is a certified NLP practitioner, certified advanced life coach, certified EI and happiness coach, certified corporate director, and so on. Our resource person is a behavioral specialist with over 20 years of corporate and academic experience. She is an avid learner and is someone who is keen on personal and professional development. This has led her to become a certified corporate director from the Institute of Directors. Dr. Swati is awarded the Emerging Women Leadership Awards Education by the Higher Education Forum in 2018. She was awarded for exemplary service in the field of research and development by Sri JJT University in 2019 and was awarded with the Eminent Educationist Award 2020 by Global Eminence Awards. We are extremely honored and delighted to have such an insightful person amidst us. Thank you very much for joining us today, ma'am, and the session is now yours.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you so much. Good evening to everybody here in India, and a special good morning to my dear friend Seema, who's joined from Suriname. What a wonderful evening when we are talking about faculty-student communication. I would love to have you all communicate with me on the chat box as we go forward. So what do you think, that one thing that comes to your mind when we talk of faculty-student communication? One thing. I'm not asking, positive or negative. Just one thing. When we, I believe most of us are faculty here. I will forever be an educationist and a faculty, whatever else I learn. So between faculty and students, what is that one thing that we feel either binds us, keeps us together, doesn't bind us, doesn't keep us together? I would love to have some answers in the chat box before we take the session forward. The one thing between a faculty and a student. Anybody in the chat box? No one? Let's take a guess. Wow, Vishalji has written communication. Thank you so much. And that's what we are going to talk on today, communication. A qualified knowledge transfer. Seema, good one. Nishaji, good evening. So happy to see you. Hi, Aarti. Very nice to see you, Nishaji. Here. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm blessed to have you here, ma'am, who's also our NLP fraternity, a senior member. Thank you for being here.
It's really nice. Thanks for recognition and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are one of the best I have ever known.
Thank you, ma'am. So anybody else would talk about what is that keeps us together? Sushma ji has written rapport, beautiful, beautiful. So these are the things that we are going to talk in the next 1 hour, presumably. Understanding, respect, and the knowledge sharing with good communication. Wow. So some pointers, if I may say, that is coming out: understanding, rapport, something similar there. Knowledge sharing and qualified knowledge transfer, something similar there. Communication, some similarities there. Now my question is, what is that one thing that probably is not, I wouldn't say a challenge, but that one thing that's not making us reach that goal with our students? Of a better communication, of a better rapport, of a better knowledge sharing. I believe each one of us have enough knowledge to pass on to the students. So what do you think is that one area that we all as faculty need to work upon, or we all want to work upon, or something that is very, very intrinsic to us being a faculty. What is that one area? If anybody would want to share with me in the chat box, it would be wonderful. Understand verbal and oral communication and knowledge sharing. Wonderful, wonderful. Let me acknowledge Pradeep ji for that. Pradeep ji, thank you for sharing that. Understand verbal and oral communication and knowledge sharing. So what is that one thing, when we say that students are not connecting with us, what is that one thing, that one intrinsic thing that probably we need to work on, probably we have it in us? Okay, respecting the student's perspective. Vishalji, let me share with you. We are talking about Neuro Linguistic programming, and the first, one of the most powerful presuppositions, the guidelines we go by, which is also happens to be my favorite, is everybody has their own unique model of the world, and we need to respect everybody's model of the world. So nice of you to write respecting the student's perspective. What else do you think is that if we bring to the classrooms? Okay, students' learning style. Another amazing answer, Seema ji, and we will also be talking on the amazing aspect of neuro-linguistic programming of learning, you know, whether a student is a visual student, auditory student, kinesthetic student. How do we map our learners and then communicate with them? I'm blessed, Professor Shankar. Thank you so much. So going on with the session now, as we all are probably professors, trainers, professors in the making, students, whichever fraternity we are from, I think any conversation would be incomplete without a presentation, you know, a PowerPoint presentation. You all would be wondering by now, is a PowerPoint presentation coming or not coming? So here we are. Let us get into the basics of what is it that defines a faculty-student communication, an effective one from neuro-linguistic point of view. So just give it 1 second for the PPT to start. Somebody needs to tell me if the PPT is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
It's loading. It's taking a bit of a time, so please bear with me. One beautiful thing I always say, people who have heard me know, neuro-linguistic programming will work on everything but technology. We have yet to find out how to make neuro-linguistic programming work on technology. So just be with me for a second till we are technologically at par. So is NLP for effective faculty and student communication visible to all? The slide.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Wonderful. What do you see on this slide? Can somebody write it in the chat box and then somebody can read it for me from the chat box? Because I believe I am not, able to access the chat box as of now. So what is visible to you on this slide? If somebody may just substantiate it for me.
Ma'am, it is the title slide, NLP for effective faculty and student communication.
What do you see on this slide? If somebody is writing something in the chat box?
No, ma'am. Miss Seema has told that she doesn't see the slide.
Oh, she doesn't? Okay.
But it is visible for me.
Okay. So if it's visible, may I know whom I'm talking to? If I may know your name, please, ma'am, it would be great.
This is Gayatri.
Oh yeah, Gayatri. You got a lovely voice. I need to register it now. So Gayatri, if you can see the slide, can you explain the slide to me, please?
Ma'am, I don't see the slide right now.
I think there is some technical glitch happening. Just give me a second to figure it out. Like I said, NLP can work on a... Yeah. Yes, Gayatri, you're saying something to me.
If I can help, go to 3 dots at the lower sidebar and then click on that 3 dots. You will get a slide layout, and if you can click on a right slide layout, you will get the slide.
The slide is playing. The only image is it's getting stuck, you know. For some reason, it's not moving. The slide is playing. On my PC, it's running. It's not going to the next slide when I'm attempting to do so. So let me re-attempt and see if I can. Just give me a second. Now this is visible to all, if I may say so. This slide.
Yeah.
What do you see on this slide? I just want somebody to tell me what pictorial representation do you see on this slide?
Some plugin system is there, I think.
Please do share your name too so that I can acknowledge your answer.
Vishal Gupta.
Vishalji, yes, some plugins
Yes.
going somewhere.
Yeah.
This wire is at least. I mean, the visibility has taken a back seat. I hope my audibility is there. So, the first slide that I showed, I had a meaning. And the meaning was very simple. The meaning was that as faculty and students, we are connected, right? And by virtue of being connected, if we are connected, the right wire in the right socket is when we get the best results. That is what is the power of neuro-linguistic communication is all about. What we speak, how we speak, whatever we speak, how are we aligning it with the learning pattern of our learners? How well are we communicating with our learners? Whatever we are communicating, is it effective enough? Is it powerful enough? Is it what is required? So the three basic principles that it works on is whatever we say should align with the learner's learning style, which we call as primary representational system or the main learning system of a learner. It should be said in a manner that it is better communicated. So the communication should be clear. We have something in a neuro-linguistic programming known as a communication model. And in that we learn how to avoid three things, that is delete, distort and generalization of any information to reach better and powerful results. So we say that it is very important that we understand what we say should be impactful.
Joseph, then only it will be visible, Gayatri.
Dr. Steffi, it's visible to me. I just want Mr. Joseph to change the slide, please.
Yes, it is visible now.
Thank you. So now we come to asking that one question that every faculty has asked, will ask and continue asking. What is that one thing that you as faculty believe will empower you for better student engagement? Is it not one of the, more important questions when we become faculty members? I think each one of us at some point of time have asked, what is that one thing that we as faculty believe will empower us for a better student engagement? Because at the end of the day, getting connected to students, being a part of the student community and to make them understand what we want them to know is all about being a powerful faculty or effective or an efficient faculty. Next slide, please. So, everybody is requesting for a presentation to be in slideshow mode. Dr. Steffi, can we do that, please? Vipin, Mr. Vipin, who's working on it, if he could be kind enough to do that.
Yes, ma'am, as we are trying from our side, ma'am.
Yeah, there's some error happening. From my end, the same error was happening. If it is visible so far, can I continue the presentation, Mr. Akbar and...
Yes, ma'am. Actually, you can continue, ma'am. It is visible, and we are trying to do the slideshow.
Okay. So, no, please go to the previous slide. Thank you. So, what does a faculty want? How many of us here are faculty members and we actually do not want to connect with the students? Or we do not want to communicate with them better? Or we do not want to create a success pattern for them? How many of us here? I choose to believe that in my 12 years of academic career and the still that's going on, the three fundamental things that anybody who's a faculty aspires to bring on the table is connect with the students, communicate with them better, and create a success pattern. We all put in all our efforts to make these three verticals happen. And I would like to ask everyone a question here, and you can write it in the chat box or just introspect amongst yourself. Has anyone actually faced a challenge in these three areas? Any one of the areas or all the three areas, connect with students, communicate with them better, create a success pattern? If somebody can be forthcoming to share on the chat box, have you faced any kind of challenge in either one of the areas or all the areas or two areas that we are seeing on the screen at the moment? Can you be kind enough to share with us? Creating success pattern is a challenge. Yes, Dr. Momin, it is. And we have an answer to that. Anybody else would want to share? Okay, so these are the three areas which for a faculty is areas of prime concern. Connecting in itself is a challenge. So it's an area of prime concern as well as an area of prime pride. Most of us say that we are very happy to share that we connect so well with our students and we communicate so good with them. We have created so many students who are successful in their chosen path. So what makes the difference? Maybe go to the next slide, please. And this is what makes the difference. NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. When we work on the neurological processes of a person, neurological means the neurology, the basic unconscious part of a person, then we bring in a communication, a connection, a success pattern that stays. Then the language, the linguistics that we use. We say if a person or a learner is a visual learner, and if I'm continuously using an auditory language or a kinesthetic language or an auditory digital language, I am not reaching 100% to my listener. So we say the language, the experiences. Neuro-linguistic programming is an experiential learning. Neuro-linguistic programming believes that in all our minds we have a mental imprint. We have an experience which we carry with ourselves. Therefore, it's very important to connect the experience with the knowledge. Personal development which is guided by the person himself or herself. If you have to drive a person every day to do something, then the person may not reach the goal. The personal development needs to come from within the person. Coaching. As faculty members, we can always take the role of a coach. We can always become their coaches. We can always tell our students, like Dr. Momin, I believe, if I remember correctly, shared creating a success pattern. Coaching or mentoring, the other aspect, is something that can connect you to a student where we can create a successful pattern of existence for them, a successful professional pattern for them by virtue of hand-holding and connecting. And the last but the most important thing I would want to talk about today here in this slide is achieve goals. Who can tell me what is one way of achieving goal that most MBAs who have done MBAs, otherwise also goal coaches talk about a lot? How do we reach our goal? What is that one technique which most of us have used, are using and are aware of? You can write your answers in the chat box. I'm waiting for the answer. The goal needs to be what we have taught, most of us have learned, most of us have taught. Just think of it. I have written something in the chat box. Okay, Seema has written smart. Thank you. Vishalji taking continuous action. Gayatri being consistent. How many of us are aware of smart goal? We set a smart goal. We all set a smart goal. Specific, right? Anybody who's unaware of the concept of smart goal? Okay, I'll just put it down. Specific, measurable. Please forgive my spelling if I go here and there. So specific, measurable. What does A stand for? Can somebody tell me?
Attainable.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. And Gayatri ji has also written attainable. Wonderful. And then we come to R, which is
Realistic.
realistic. Wonderful. Realistic and timely or time bound. Right, so far? So we do specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and timely goal setting. And yet we do not reach our goal. Yet most of us, just a question, you can unmute and talk also if you don't want to write. How many of us here, I'm counting myself in, so the first person in on this question's answer is me, have set up a weight loss goal in life? You can share or choose not to share. Set up a weight loss goal and reach the weight loss goal. Let me be a little more specific on that.
Somewhere I have reached, ma'am.
Somewhere you got to reach. Yes. Okay. Anybody else would want to share where we have set up a weight loss goal and we have reached the weight loss goal? We have woken up in the morning, gone for a walk, gone to the gym. How many of us have been able to pull it off if weight loss was what I'm talking about? The same applies to the students. When they set smart goals, when we set their smart goals as faculty members, somewhere the connection, the first slide, if you remember, the connection, the right wire is not in the right socket. So in NLP, we say something which is known as a smarter goal. So we have a ER at the end, which we talk of is extendable and rewarding. And then comes the fundamental of the smart or the smarter goal being achieved. So as a faculty, as somebody who is responsible to communicate learning as well as growth to the students, to make them achieve their goals, if we set up a smarter goal with the E and R, that is extendable and rewarding, chances of the goal being achieved is higher. Because in NLP, when we talk of setting up goals for students, we talk of neurological way of setting up goals for students, where the neurological levels of students are set up in a way, or we talk to them in a manner that they understand the power and importance of creating a successful pattern. Can you please change the slide, sir? Thank you. So what is it that I'm talking about? The first thing, the connect, build a rapport. I was very happy when somebody wrote rapport. What is the challenge? The challenge is when we build a rapport, and again, I would like all of you to keep talking to me through chat box or unmute and whichever way. What do you think is the best way of creating a rapport with a student? Any answers? Or what best method have you used to connect? Listening. Wonderful, Vishalji. Listening is a very powerful tool. And if I may just quantify it in the pattern of NLP, what we say, rapport is gained by understanding and respecting the way that another person sees the world. So Sushma ji has said to get into their shoes, and this is what we are talking of, the first point. Rapport is gained by understanding and respecting the way that another person sees the world. Like I said in the beginning, in NLP, we believe everybody has their own model of the world and it should be respected. Every student has their own model of the world. And taking Sushma ji's statement forward, to get into their shoes, one shoe doesn't fit all, one size doesn't fit all. So as a faculty, we need to connect with students by being more reasonable and more respecting of how they see the world. It is like speaking their language. We as faculty have to speak their language. When I say speak their language, definitely I don't mean we start using slangs or we start using their kind of unparliamentary language, or if anybody here is from Mumbai, we start using the typical Mumbai language that students use. It is their language, is their linguistics. What are they saying? Like Seema ji has written attentive. When we listen, Vishal ji is listening and attentive, then we understand what are they speaking. We have to listen to what are they speaking. And then we have to use the same language to build up rapport with our students. It results in a feeling of comfort and commonality between people. Has it ever happened to you that you have told a student that you are from their area of stay or from their city or from their state, and suddenly you feel that there is a very nice bond happening between you and the student? Has it ever happened with anybody here? Okay, Sushmaji says yes. Thank you, Sushmaji. And what is, one wonderful thing that has helped me, I'm sharing my example, bond with students, is food. Trust me, food. The commonality, the comfort. In Mumbai, I'm based out of Navi Mumbai, we have all these, now so due to COVID, a lot of things have changed. Otherwise, we have so many pani puri stalls and joints, right here and right here and right here. And many a times when I had to build up a rapport with my students, I would say, you know what, the other day I saw you having pani puri at that joint. Do you think that's a good place for me to go and have pani puri? And that is comfort. So I have not, breached any etiquette of being a professor. I have not gone into a friendship zone with them, which is a fear in most of the professors' mind that if we build a rapport, if we start talking their own language, would we not be getting into a zone of being their friends? Will they take us seriously? They will. We only have to build the commonalities on common ground. So trust me when I say that with a lot of students, I was able to connect and build bridges over pani puri. I mean, you can try that if anybody wants to talk to their student. Having said that, pani puri is a very good common comfort bonding point. So when people are like each other, they like each other, and this is true. When we meet a person, a stranger also, if we have gone to a get together or a party or a conference or a seminar, what happens? Who are the people you get attracted to or you notice most? Can somebody tell me? Or you can unmute and talk, or you can put it in the chat box. Who are the people who who you usually get your attention goes to? Like-minded, wonderful, and that is when people are like each other, they like each other. I think all of us as faculty have gone to many a seminars, many a conferences, where we probably are unaware of the other people. What happens there? When there is a lunch break or a tea break, we see people who are going for the same kind of food or same kind of gesture or same kind of talk, same time of type of conversation, and in some cases same types of hobby. If somebody is discussing cricket, you like cricket, you will go and probably talk to that person. Happens or doesn't? I'm waiting for some answers before we go to the next slide. Has it ever happened? You've gone to a conference, to a seminar, and suddenly, Sushmaji, you are so nicely giving Pradeep ji, thank you so much. Sushmaji, has it ever happened? And I'm being very gender neutral. I'm a woman, and I respect every woman and man equally. So I would first say that I'm a very gender neutral person. Having said that, I would like to ask the women in the group, it has happened to me, therefore I'm asking, that you have gone to a conference or a seminar, and you usually you don't know anybody there, and then you see this person, this lady in a sari which you have been wanting to buy for a very long time, and that becomes the topic of conversation, the topic to start a bonding or a rapport. Has it ever happened to any lady here in the group? With men, mostly I've seen it's cricket. So I just want to know, was it my experience alone, or has it happened with other ladies too, where you see a lady wearing a sari about which you have been a little interested in the past, so you go up to the lady and the conversation starts with, where did you buy this sari from? Okay, so it happens with Seema. It happened to me. So I went up to the lady and said, hey, I've been looking for a sari like this. Where did you buy it from? And that is where the conversation starts. And that is where the relationship or the assessment and then the rapport starts. So how do we bring this rapport to the faculty-student relationship? And where does it lead us? So just one request to the organizers. If you are comfortable and if it does not breach your protocol, because we are unable to make the screen bigger, I would be more than happy if the PPTs I will share with you all in a PDF format, and if it could be shared with all the participants of today, if it's okay with your protocols. So, what do we say? Faculty-student rapport leads to higher motivation. When students feel rapport with their teachers and feel that their teachers' personalities are something like their own, their motivation levels are higher. Would you agree or disagree? To the first point of higher motivation, some yes, some no, some maybe I don't want to answer. Okay. I would like more people to get involved with the conversation. It makes it more lively and happier thing to do. So, okay. Geeta ji, welcome. Thank you. So, students feel motivated because we are speaking in their own language. We are connecting with them in their own space with respect. Increased comfort. When there is rapport, students tend to answer more freely and with a greater degree of frankness. So one point, if we all get to is, we would want to connect with the student on a level of friendship rather than fear. We would prefer our students to be frank, free, rather than rigid and not being involved. So what works when we build up rapport with the students is it gives them an increased comfort to connect with you, to talk to you, to present what is happening in their mind in a better and clearer manner. Increased quality. So in a degree program, I'm talking undergrad, grad, postgrad, whichever, PG. In a degree program, when students feel rapport with faculty, their perceptions of the quality of that program also increases. Remember that. If students like you because you are like them, they will like everything that they are going through, whether it is the campus, whether it's the program, whether it's the library, whether it's the classroom, because you have brought them from a zone of unknown to a zone of known, and from a zone of known to a zone of being friendly. So the quality, the measurements of quality, and the students' perception about the quality of what they are learning, the quality of their faculty, the quality of their entire degree system goes a bit higher. Satisfaction. When we have a good rapport with a student, or a working rapport with a student, it leads to satisfaction. They feel supported. Because what we said, that rapport, the first key to rapport is respecting their thoughts, their ideas, and how they see the world. So when students have rapport, what happens is they are more happy and satisfied with the way the instructor is leading them, teaching them, and how the course is going forward. Because as a faculty, the success pattern challenge, which I still remember Dr. Momin had just mentioned, would improve much better if we get the increased quality and satisfaction level of the students at a particular benchmark. If a student is satisfied that yes, the course is giving me what I need, the instructor is giving me what I need, there will be a mutual respect between the student, the instructor, and then it becomes like the student would want to appreciate his presence by creating a successful pattern or a more effective and efficient outcome. Enhanced communication. As rapport grows, so does understanding and comprehension. Teachers and students understand each other better when there is a rapport between them. How many of you agree that when there is a rapport, students understand you better, you understand students better? At least understand, when I use the word here, let me be very specific. It is not possible for us to understand any other person. So understand here is more relevant to their learning and their academic growth. So I'm just pointing out their learning and their academic growth. So how many of you believe that rapport, a bond, friendship, professional, educational, friendship is what will create something whereby the student and you can communicate better. And outcome of the communication will be something which is going to be effective and efficient both for you as well as the student. So how many would say yes and how many would say maybe? Don't know. We'll answer later. You can write whatever you want in the chat box. The chat box is all yours. So this is all about faculty-student rapport. What does it lead to? Now let's go to the next slide, please. Mr. Joseph, can we go to the next slide, please? Am I audible? Thank you. So this is how we have to visualize smiling faces, happy faces, learning faces, faces which exemplify their presence by having a body language of happiness and a body language of rapport. So how do we go forward? Now we have spoken of rapport as one of the tools of communication. What next was I talking of in that first slide, if somebody remembers? We said communicate, connect. How do we actually, now I have spoken of connect, now we will see how do we communicate. So please change the slide. Communicate, linguistic. In Neuro Linguistic programming, we have linguistic patterns which I have used as a professor and as a teacher and which works beautiful. So what does linguistics do? In a dynamic teacher-learner relationship, meaning is achieved through mutual feedback. Can anybody share with me how do you give a feedback to a student? Anybody? Have we, have we used it, or have you ever heard any faculty say that, you know what, you just cannot do it? Have you heard any faculty say that? Yes, no. I don't want you to share about you. You can share if you have heard any faculty say after a student has not done something properly, say that, you know, you cannot do that. You cannot do this. I knew you cannot do this. So, yes, Mr. Akbar, what you're saying is right. And what I want to know that have we heard faculty members use this language? That, you know, you are not capable of doing it, you just cannot do it. So what Vishalji and Mr. Akbarji have said is what it is going to be. The teacher-learner has to be achieved through mutual feedback. I have to tell the kids. I can't lie to the kids, you know. Constructive feedback doesn't mean that I tell, if the kid has not done something well, I say, oh wow, this is amazing. I mean, I can't do that as a faculty. What I can do is, oh wonderful, this is so nice, and you know what? You can do better. That is the power of linguistics when we talk of communication. And the minute I say, you can do better, I'm giving a feedback where the kid or the student understands that the student needs to work a little better. At the same time, I'm also letting the kid know that he can do it. So, feedback is very, very important in a student-teacher relationship, and any relationship for that matter. In linguistics, we say that the way we give feedback is very, very powerful and very, very, very important. So now, for a second, let's just, if you can just close the slide, and if I can just have 2 minutes talk with everyone. When I'm talking of feedback, and I want everyone to participate in this. Gatriji, can we just stop the screen share for a while? I just would want to talk to people. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now I would like to have a conversation with all of you, and I I would love if you all give me answers. And the first question is for the men here who are there. When you do not like a food cooked by your wife, do you tell, oh my God, this food is so bad? You can write yes, no in the chat box if you don't want to unmute and speak. Or do you say that the dish is very good, I'm a little not so hungry today, so I would skip dinner? Which one will you do? It's just a generic question. You can share in the chat box. I'm watching the chat box now. The A or the B? The food is very bad, I'm not eating dinner today. Or I'm not that hungry today, so I'll skip dinner today. What do you usually go with, or you would prefer going with? Option B. Thank you, Vishalji. You are safe and blessed, and do stay blessed. So we do it in our personal space, right? We are very good at linguistics when it comes to our personal space. We just have to migrate to being equally good in our student-faculty relationship. So please do remember, next time a student of yours is struggling, you've got to handhold and say, you know what? If not this time, next time you're gonna be doing better. If not this time, next time it's going to be you all the way. It makes a world of difference to their growth, to their confidence, and to making them believe that they can create a successful pattern. Mr. Joseph, if you could just go back to the slide, please. The slideshow is starting, I believe. Dr. Steffi?
No, ma'am, the slides are not visible.
Yeah, the slides are not yet visible. I'm also waiting for them to start. Yeah, it started. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all the efforts you are taking to make it easier. We need to go to the previous slide, please. The previous one that I was talking about. Thank you so much. So what we say, all communication potentially influences learning. Teachers' language and behavior crucially influence learners on at least two levels: their understanding of the topic in question and their beliefs about the world, including about learning. Like I said, if we tell them, oh, you know what, you just cannot do it, we are changing their belief about the world, about themselves, about their own capabilities. So we have to be more inclusive in when we give them a feedback. Teachers' awareness of their behavior and choice of words and how sensitive they are to the influence of such words and behavior on learners are vital to making the teaching and learning processes effective. How many of you have seen that video which is going viral on Facebook about this teacher, I believe in China or Korea or some place, where just before he goes for a session, he's tired. Right before he enters the classroom, he stands outside the classroom. He will just shake himself up and put a nice smile on his face and then enter the classroom. Have you seen that video? It's a very, very powerful video showing how much influence our behavior, our presence, and our smile has on students. If any of you, if you have not seen, I think most of you are in the WhatsApp group. I would definitely share that video in the WhatsApp group for all of you to see, because it's a very powerful video that a faculty will get an input of how much power we all have when we stand in front of the students. Can we go further, please? Next slide, please. Thank you. So the NLP model explains how we process information which comes to us from the outside and the importance of eye contact and movement in identifying emotional states and how, rather than what individuals think. So we now have to think on how are they thinking rather than getting into content of what are they thinking. So now we have to focus on our students. We have to make an eye contact with them. We have to connect with them through our movements and understand if a student is not in the right emotional state, or if the student is not in that space to learn, we have to rather get into how is this student going to come back and learn, rather than what is that student doing that is not letting him or her learn. So now we have to get to making a model for ourselves as faculty, where we train ourselves into knowing our students better on how they think rather than what they think. Because it's very simple. If we know how they think, we will be able to, for all coming days, we will be able to create imprints of them because we know how it works. What they think will keep on changing. So it is how they think that matters. These clearly form the basis of what we now know as VAC or VACOR. So it is visual, auditory, kinesthetic learners, and the need to cater for different learning styles in the classroom. When we are in a classroom, we have all these kind of learners in the classroom. There will be people who are visual in nature. There will be people who are auditory in nature. There will be people or students who are kinesthetic, or they go by the feeling of what they hear. So as a faculty, if we know what kind of students we have within the classroom, if we can match through understanding their linguistics, if we can match through understanding what kind of words they are using, we will be a better informed faculty. We will be a better informed teachers when it comes to communication and connection. I'll give you an example. We say everybody has their own way of speaking, right? So when you look at this slide, I will just need 1 or 2 volunteers. Just in one sentence, can somebody write what do you see on this slide? Just I would say explain the slide, or how would you want to talk about this slide in your own way if you have to. Some volunteers in the chat box. If not, then I will say something. I would still. Okay. So just think all of you. The 43 people are there. Exclude me, the other 42. Some of you may have thought that the slide looks beautiful, powerful. Does the word look come to your mind? Looks. Just think. If what came to your mind is the slide looks effective, looks means you are a visual person. Same way we map our students. If you say what's written here sounds interesting, so the word you have used is sounds interesting. That means you are an auditory person. There are many words. I'm just giving you one brief one. Auditory. That means that you will identify more with auditory words. Same is with students. They are either visual, auditory, and if somebody feels the information on the slide feels correct. So the word is feels. That is kinesthetic. So that person will be more connected when a kinesthetic word is used. So we say that if we learn the learning style of the learners in the classroom, we can become a very powerful and effective faculty. Can we go next? I'm just cutting it short because we lost a lot of time and I think it's time for us to wrap up. It's already 6. I never overshoot time, so I will just wrap it up with the last 2 slides. Learners make decisions based on belief and value judgments. They are often in a state of conflict because their previous learning experiences do not coincide with their current learning environment. So whatever they have learned before is not matching up with whatever the environment that they are learning in now. So they get into a conflict. The learners get into a conflict. We as faculty have to figure it out and resolve it. Values provide the basis for decisions about what is right and wrong, what they want, need to know, and don't want, don't need to know. In certain cultures, some beliefs are disabling in that they prevent learners adopting strategies such as risk-taking, which teachers would like to encourage. If Mr. Momin is, Dr. Momin is still here, I would like to address this point to him. So the successful pattern becomes a challenge mostly because of this. When you look at a student, you want the student to join a job and become successful. You communicate to the student that, okay, there is a job, it is in Delhi, the student is in Pune. The student's background, the student's culture, the student's family value system says no. You got to work in Pune. You cannot go to Delhi. So the conflict here is already in place. So this belief, the disabling belief that no, you have to work in Pune, you cannot go to Delhi, is something that stops that student from strategizing or taking any risk. As faculty, if I know what is the limiting belief, either I will work on that limiting belief first, then offer the student a successful pattern or imprint, or if I know I will not be able to work on that limiting belief, I will create a different success pattern for that student. Then we come to memories and prior decisions create beliefs which affect our current behavior. Learners often revert to previously adopted strategies and require deconditioning, while it can be argued that adult learning patterns merely replace earlier learning strategies which has been forgotten. So what happens? How many of us change is easy or learning is easy? If you can just answer. Some yes, some no, some maybe. Learning is easy, change is easy, it is one of the easiest things to do. Somewhat, Seema says somewhat. Yes, easy for me. Congratulations, Poonamji. You are a very attuned person. Anybody else would want to talk about change, learning? Do we usually go for a learning or a webinar or a seminar where we have to pay, yet we will not get a certificate, or there is no proof of we attended? Are we very happy going to those kind of webinars, certificates? Anybody can help me with that answer. You can write a yes or a no. Just because we want to learn, we will still go, even if we have to pay and we may not get a certificate or any kind of support. Some of us, yes. You will also agree, most of us, no. Most of us would want. Yeah, Poonamji says she'll go if she finds the topic interesting. So we all are in that level of being, teachers, learners, facilitators. Now think from a student's point of view. For a student, reward is a very important part of existence. So when we create a communication channel, we have to be very, very clear, where is it leading to? What is that student getting out of whatever he is being said, he is being told, he is being guided to? Next, please, Vipin sir. So this is what we say looks like when we are in a good, harmonious relationship or in rapport, and when student faculty have a good communication skill. Can we go to the next? So if one can do it, anyone can do it. This is another presupposition of neuro-linguistic programming. If one of us has been able to connect with the students, communicate with them better, create a success pattern, any one of us can do it. It is just getting the combinations right. Can we go to the next, sir? So I'll be ending the session with my most favorite quote from the book High Impact Educational Practices, what they are, who has access to them, and why they matter, by who. So today when I'm asked, what one thing can we do to enhance student engagement and increase student success? I now have an answer. Make it possible for every student to participate in at least 2 high-impact activities during his or her program, one in the first year and one taken later. This is the best way of teaching them communication, teaching them responsibility for values, teaching them how to create their success stories and success patterns. Next, sir. So, another favorite of mine, it is teachers who have created positive teacher-student relationships that are more likely to have the above average effect on students' achievement. So I would like to end with that. The last slide has my contact details, and if Vipin sir can be kind enough to just share the links on the chat box for people to copy if they want, or they can take a print. So this is my contact number, and these are my LinkedIn pages, my Telegram page, my Facebook page, and of course there is a group on NLP which is led by Dr. R.S. Mangesh Dash. So these are my simple credentials for all of you to stay connected. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to take, though I have overshot the time by almost 4 minutes. If the organizers are kind enough to give me some time, and if people want to ask something, I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being so kind, considerate, and accepting of whatever technical glitches we had earlier. Thank you so much. Gayatri, ma'am, it's over to you. If there are any questions, any doubts, any queries.
Yes, ma'am. I now request the participants to post your queries in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and talk.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone for their kind words. It's very motivating. Thank you so much. Thank you, Poodachi. Blessed. Thank you. Thank you, Sahu sir. Thank you, Geeta ma'am. Thank you to everyone for their kind words and appreciation. And a warm thanks to Team Rand Publication for bringing me to this forum. Thank you so much. I believe, Gayatri ji, there are no questions. So shall we let people go and enjoy their Saturday evening with a cup of coffee,
definitely.
tea, pakoras, whatever. Enjoy what you enjoy, and have a wonderful, wonderful time ahead. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Team Ryan Bandhu.
I conclude the session, ma'am.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Gayatri ma'am,
Okay, so yes. Yeah.
Ma'am, actually I received the certificate, but the certificate is not proper. Can you just look into it once again? The design of the certificate, I mean, it's just overlapping. The sentences are overlapping.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. On what session was it? Is it on a previous session?
Ma'am, immediately, like once we fill the feedback. So I think people have not checked their mail. So it is like international webinar and the topic. Both the sentences are overlapping. So the certificate is not clear for this session.
Okay, ma'am. Sure. I'll look into it, ma'am.
Okay,
we'll look into it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so
much. Thank you. Okay. So now I'd like to conclude the session. Huge thanks to our beloved resource person, Dr. Swati Firdoshi, for the valuable session and wonderful insights on today's topic, Neuro Linguistic Programming for Effective Faculty and Student Communication. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the wonderful session. As we've now reached the end of the session, I'd like to thank everyone for your continued support and patient listening. Once again, a very good evening and thank you.
Thank you. Blessed all. Thank you.